This is ridiculous. So, this Mike Lynch guy is in court in America on corruption and fraud charges. He's a mega tech tycoon. So God knows what tech surveillance part he's playing in the whole global big picture. He gets acquitted by a jury in America, and then one of the co-defendants gets hit by a car in Cambridgeshire, and then a couple of days later there's this freak yacht accident, and all of the people, it doesn't really seem like they know exactly what happened. This is just like that Richard Branson Island thing when Branson Island set on fire. You know what? I'll give you. I can. There are many ways that they could pull this off. Firstly, all of the witnesses. I mean, he might have made himself. He might have wanted to make himself disappear. They could be just lying in on it. They could all be in on it, and he could be lying. He could have sunk it on purpose. But it's like that guy going down the motorway who claimed that his car, his accelerator got, his accelerator didn't stick down. The car just went into full speed down the motorway. And the police had to kind of catch him up and drive in front of him, and then slam the brakes on to try to stop the car. But when they tested the car, the garage claimed that there was nothing wrong with it, or so he says. But the police didn't even do a proper investigation into that. There's no evidence that the car actually wouldn't stop. None at all. There's no evidence except one person's statement in that incident. He could just have had balls of steel. And then even if his car did malfunction, apparently there's no evidence of it. And that's an incident where police actually attended and someone survived. And the police apparently, they didn't even. I don't even think the police actually had the car checked themselves or anything. So you're on that level with it, really. How could they have done this? Well, if it was at night time, if it was dark, they could, there actually was a weather situation, but this is the thing. I mean, you don't even know what technology they've got now. You see, they could have had a submarine, right? If they targeted his that other guy in Cambridgeshire in that car accident, that's easy enough to set up. And then if they go after them, I mean, it could have been a submarine with new technology. Firstly, they could play noises to make it sound like a storm, and they could shoot kind of, God knows what. Jet weapons, water jet, mist jets. There's all you can create lightning quite easily. If these people are on a boat or a ship, they wouldn't know. I can remember my phone. I don't even go through the settings on my phone, right? And I was on the bus, and then I went to this shop, and then I was waiting at the bus stop, and then there was all these whooshing sounds going whoosh. Whoosh, whoosh. I'm like, what the hell's that? And I had absolutely no idea that my phone had this thing on it where you could do whooshing sounds, right? And at that time, it sounded like it was coming from somewhere over the road, right? I thought there was some street cleaner thing or something like that. I was looking around, where is it? Even though it was coming from my own phone in my pocket, I had absolutely clueless to it, because I wouldn't expect, I didn't know the phone had that. I didn't even know a mobile phone had this play whooshing sounds thing, right? I was in the street by the bus stop. I was looking around, where's this thing? It was like, when they go cleaning up, when they clean out when there's street cleaner things, but sometimes they've got another fitting on the back. Those things that go down the road right up against the pavement and clean it, but not the little tiny ones, like the bigger ones. They've got that thing on the back, haven't they? And then he gets it. It's like a big, fireman tube thing, and he sticks it down the drain, and it jet washes out the drains. It literally was like something like that. But it was coming from my phone. right? And because I had no idea that my phone had that on it or it was capable of doing it, I was like, what the fuck's going on? The sound was like it was coming from not me, but from the around me, the environment. And that's just a little tiny mobile phone, right? So on that scale and level, in fact, we went to this park and this guy wanted to take some photos of us. And it's rare that anyone wants to take photos of me. I'm usually the one who takes photos. And then just exactly as he started taking photos, it felt like it was raining or there was like some water. And he said, he stopped. And I'm like, why are you stopping taking photos? He didn't want to get his camera wet. But it wasn't like raining loads. And I was like looking around, I'm like, it's like, I'm like, is there some kind of hidden, has someone like planted some kind of Ant and Dec joke or Jeremy Beadle joke, where they like plant I'm like, someone piped in some kind of, like you have a dry ski slope, it's kind of like underneath a dry ski slope, right? You've got misting system, right? Like a misting system under a dry ski slope to keep it like moist, right? I'm like, is there some kind of little sort of toy water gun thing or like something squirting, just make it feel like it's raining? Because I looked up and it was like, there's no clouds. Where's the rain coming from? I'm like, it's clear. How can it be raining? There's nowhere for rain to come from, I'm like, is it only like in a certain area, like, like a small kind of, what sort of area we're talking around? Well, it's like, I don't know, an area within the length of HGV, that's for sure. You never know. I mean, you might say, well, you can't start thinking stuff like that because that's what paranoia. But, when you watch stuff like Goldfinger or, Dr. No, it's people pay money to watch these films, right? And then the hero, the star, who's meant to be the one who's clever, intelligent, watch the behaviour of Sean Connery in these films. Anyone who behaved like that, they would think was paranoid or schizophrenic, He puts like a hair over his cupboard to make sure that no one's been into it, If he comes back into his hotel room and the hair's off, someone's been in his cupboard and he daren't drink out of his bottle of wine. He thinks he's been poisoned, so he gets another bottle out and, what hasn't had the seal broken on it. All that type of behaviour is literally, paranoid. We say, oh, well, he's a secret agent, though. He's got reason to believe that someone, might be after him. Well, he's not that secret, is he? If he was that much of a secret agent, then no one would know that he was a secret agent, so he would be the least likely person for them to target. If you're a secret agent, no one knows that you exist, or else you're not that secret, are you? But the behaviour, that's paranoid schizophrenic behaviour right there in a hero in a film. But yet he's meant to be the one who's like the most intelligent and clever out of everyone, right? So this is the thing, if you think about things like that. But what I'm saying is that you could quite easily, I think, if somebody was on a yacht, if there was some people on a yacht, and if it was dark on a yacht, and they didn't have like lights on or torches, and suddenly there's all this noise. I mean, you don't know if there's some kind of submarine just comes up or emerges and could be emitting sounds and very, very strong, like kind of like a wind machine thing. Almost like weather machine, and it could literally create a storm-like situation in pitch black, and people will be led to believe that it actually was a real storm, rather than, you're going to fire a torpedo at it because, if a boat gets hit by a torpedo, then surely, there's evidence that it was hit by a torpedo, so if you want to make it look like a storm, you're really getting onto that catamaran thing, well, that villain guy's got that catamaran thing, You see, the thing now is that the thing with Putin is, Putin's engaging in war, then, he's he's liable. And this is the thing. If not now, the main advantage is not to know that you're at war, not even to know that there's an enemy. This is the thing, when the opponent reveals themselves, then you've got someone to point the finger at, But if you've got it's like that Deathly Hallows on Harry Potter, isn't it? The unknown enemy, the unseen enemy, or whatever. But the BBC just seem to be going along with it. It's what are the chances of a guy in Cambridge who's connected with this legal case, so it's been acquitted in America, having a freak accident, and then the same people who's connected to it on a yacht also as well? I mean, this is just like show off now. This is like kind of like showing off that these people can do it and get away with it, and it also scares other tech people, like scares, maybe even Sergey Brin, Google, people like that. It puts the fear of God into them because they don't know who's going to disappear next, So it's possible to do it. I mean, there are lots of ways you could do it, when the people didn't even know what's going on. And then obviously, if he fell off the boat or they got him off the boat, I mean, while everyone's distracted with all that noise and in the hustle and bustle of it, I mean, they could have had a SEAL climb onto the boat and grab him and pull him off, in pitch black, pitch black, night clothing. It's quite easy to target someone on a small vessel like that. Or even if he falls in the water, pick him up, and they could have made him disappear on the sub or whatever if they can't find him. If he's completely and totally disappeared, or if they end up do finding him when they search that wreck or whatever. But this is it. I always suspected with that Branson Island incident, but we don't exactly know what happened. We don't know if Branson did it for an insurance job, and people aren't telling the truth. But I always suspected that if it wasn't an insurance job, that I reckon they've got those really, really hot lasers now, aren't they? Those really, really superheat laser weapons which you can fire from long distance. So, I mean, I think they've likely got lightning because all you have to do is replicate the natural occurrence of it, I mean, you can have lightning around those. You see those... when you get those substations that malfunction, sometimes you get those kind of electrical incidents, don't you, and stuff like that. There's 100 ways they could do it. There are 100 ways they could do it and make it look like it was a storm, and everyone on it believed it was a storm. Just like when I was stood at the bus stop, it sounded like there was some kind of whooshing thing, and I had absolutely no idea it was coming from my pocket. Absolutely no idea at all it was coming from my own pocket, because I just wouldn't know to think of that. If you're on a yacht and you're out there, I mean, even if the weather wasn't too good, at least, even if the weather wasn't brilliant, they can always, add extra into it, and even that would even probably give them kind of like extra stealth to get there. The thing with the witnesses is that in incidents like that, in the heat of the moment, they likely don't exactly know what is going on, and if they wouldn't suspect anything like that, then this is the thing. We probably won't find out. We probably won't know. But it's if there was some big legal case to do with fraud and it was people like that worth billions, it sounds like the Americans were trying to get a conviction. So maybe. Maybe they wanted to appeal it higher, and maybe the British, maybe he was too violent. Maybe this Lynch guy was too valuable to the British government, to the House of Lords, and to the tech, to Charles III, and maybe instead of the Americans pursuing it, maybe they just made him vanish, or maybe they've just done it because to give him a new identity or something. Maybe it's part of the witness protection program, but it's likely that it's not just what are the chances of that car accident and the other witness being involved in a car accident, and then the yacht accident after this legal case in America. It seems unlikely that it's not connected.